Picture this moment. The moment the air in your home grows thick, almost unbearable. When his face, just a minute ago so familiar and beloved, twists into a mask you barely recognize. The voice that whispered words of love now thunders like rolling claps, unleashing upon you an avalanche of accusations, frustration, cold fury. In that instant, the world shrinks to a single point, his anger, and you find yourself at the very epicenter of this hurricane. Your heart hammers somewhere in your throat, your palms grow damp, and in your head, a ringing void, or, conversely, a chaos of 1,000 thoughts. What did I do wrong? How do I stop this? Why is he like this? Will this ever end? You've tried everything, haven't you? You've tried screaming back, just to make your voice heard through the storm, but it only fueled the flames, turning your home into a battlefield with no victors, only 2 wounded people, drifting further apart. You've tried silence, swallowing bitter tears of resentment, hoping he'd see your pain and stop. But silence was often taken as indifference or even silent condemnation, and the wall between you grew higher, thicker. You appealed to his logic, to common sense, laying everything out rationally, but your words bounced off the invisible armor of his effect, like peas off a wall. And after every such storm, all that remained was scorched earth in your soul, a feeling of devastation, and the terrifying question, will it always be like this? What if I told you that this vicious cycle can be broken, that there isn't just a technique, but a profound, almost sacred key to his heart, even when it's engulfed in the flames of anger? That there are just 2 words, spoken from a very particular state of your soul, capable of working a miracle, stopping this destructive wave, bringing him back to himself, and gifting you hope and the possibility of true dialogue. This isn't magic from children's fairy tales or a superficial trick from popular magazines. This is wisdom, hard-won through centuries and confirmed by the depth psychology of Carl Jung. It was he, the fearless explorer of the human soul, who showed us that anger is often the cry of the shadow, that unexplored, dark side of us that yearns to be seen and accepted. Today, we embark on a journey into the most hidden corners of the male and female psyche, not just to learn these 2 words, but to understand their incredible power. Are you ready to discard old, ineffective scripts and acquire knowledge capable of healing your relationship? Then put everything aside, open your heart, and listen very, very carefully, because what you are about to hear could change everything. Part 1. The Dragon of Anger. Why it awakens and how we feed it with our fears. Let's face it, male anger is frightening. It possesses a primal, almost animalistic power capable of paralyzing one's will. Jung would tell us that this isn't just an emotion. It's often a manifestation of archetypal energies dormant in every man. It might be the distorted warrior, bringing destruction instead of protection. It could be the dethroned king, whose power, real or imagined, has been violated, and now he's venting his frustration. Sometimes, it's the voice of his wounded inner masculinity, his animus, if we were speaking of a woman, or his masculine self, feeling emasculated, powerless, humiliated, and anger becomes a desperate attempt to reclaim lost strength. And even deeper, at the very core of this anger, often hides his shadow, that part of his personality he himself is afraid to look into. There might be childhood traumas, fear of rejection, feelings of inadequacy, suppressed pain. And when some trigger in the present reopens these old wounds, the shadow erupts like a genie from a bottle, and its rage can be blind and merciless. He himself, in that moment, may not realize that the true cause of his anger isn't your words or actions, but something buried deep in his past. And what do we, women, do when faced with this dragon? More often than not, we unconsciously feed it, give it the very energy it craves. Mirror rage. We respond to aggression with aggression. Oh, you're going to be like that. Well, take this. Our own animus, our inner masculine principle, if immature or wounded, rushes into battle. Jung warned that an unintegrated animus in a woman can be dogmatic, belligerent, prone to arguments. And so, two animuses, two enraged inner men, lock in a deadly struggle, forgetting love, intimacy, the very essence of the relationship. The result? Double destruction. The abyss of victimhood. We sink into the role of the victim, tears, reproaches, complaints about our miserable fate. Look what you've done to me. This can be a manifestation of our own shadow, seeking sympathy and control through weakness. But for a man, especially if his anger is linked to feelings of powerlessness, the sight of your weakness can provoke either more irritation, she's crying again, or guilt, which he will immediately try to shed by escalating his aggression. Jung said that projecting the shadow often evokes in the other person the very qualities we don't accept in ourselves. If we fear our own strength, we may provoke him into displaying excessive strength. Icy silence. We withdraw, building a wall of resentment and alienation around ourselves. This is passive aggression, no less destructive than an open scream. It's like a slow poison, toxifying the atmosphere. Jung viewed such withdrawals as a form of resistance, but it's a resistance that doesn't solve the problem, merely preserves it, creating fertile ground for future, even stronger explosions. Intellectual battles. We try to out-argue him, to prove him wrong with ironclad logic. But in a moment of anger, as Jung taught, consciousness narrows. Archetypal emotional forces take over. His rational part is offline. Your logical arguments are empty noise to him. They only intensify his feeling of being misunderstood, his feelings unheard. Each of these reactions is a dead end. It's a dance on the edge of a cliff, where every misstep can lead to a fall. But to find a new path, we first need to stop and look within ourselves. Part 2. The Quiet Harbor, the alchemy of the feminine state in the face of the storm. Those two words I'll soon tell you about. They're not just a formula, they are a key, but this key only works when inserted into the right lock, and that lock is your inner state. Jung considered woman the bearer of eros, the principle of connection, of relationship, while man is more connected to logos, the principle of meaning, of structure. This doesn't mean women are illogical or men unfeeling, but it points to different centers of gravity. And in a conflict situation, it is precisely the woman, through her connection to eros, through her deep intuition, who can become the force that transforms chaos into harmony. But for this, she herself must become that quiet harbor. What should she be like? Queen of herself. Jung called the self the central archetype, our true I, which strives for wholeness and completeness. A woman in contact with herself possesses an unshakable inner core. She is like an ancient tree with deep roots. The wind of anger may bend her branches, but it cannot break her. She doesn't lose herself in his emotions, doesn't allow his storm to consume her. She remains herself, witnessing what is happening, but not identifying with it. This requires immense inner work, the path of individuation, as Jung called it, the path of becoming oneself. Fearless encounter with the shadow, her own and his. She who has known and accepted her own shadow, her fears, her anger, her jealousy, her envy, ceases to demonize the shadow of another. She knows the shadow is not a monster, but merely a rejected, misunderstood part of the soul, yearning for light and recognition. She isn't afraid to look his dragon in the eyes because she has already tamed her own. This fearlessness doesn't mean an absence of feelings, but it grants the ability not to panic, to maintain clarity. The wisdom of the mature anima and understanding of his animus. The anima, according to Jung, is the feminine soul in a man. When a man is angry, his anima is often wounded, suppressed, or conversely, uncontrollably manifests as irrational emotions. A mature woman, whose own feminine essence, her inner goddess, if you will, is awakened and harmonious, intuitively senses this. She understands that his anger is not always an attack on her, but often a cry from his suffering anima, his inability to cope with some internal conflicts. She doesn't take it personally, but sees deeper. The sacred trialogue, calm, empathy, and unshakable boundaries. These are the three pillars on which her strength rests. Calm, not icy indifference, but a deep inner stillness that prevents her from being infected by his chaos. It's like the ability to walk on water without sinking. Empathy, the ability to feel his pain behind the anger, not to excuse his actions, but to understand his state. It's a warmth that can melt ice. Boundaries, a clear knowledge of where he ends and she begins. Understanding that his emotions are his emotions, and hers are hers, and a firm but non-aggressive stance. I am with you, I hear you, but I will not allow myself to be destroyed. This is self-respect, without which true respect for another is impossible. This state doesn't come automatically. It's the result of conscious effort, meditation, self-reflection, perhaps work with a psychologist. It's the path of the female alchemist who learns to transform the lead of destructive emotions into the gold of understanding and intimacy. And when she achieves this inner equilibrium, she is ready to speak those very words. Words that, from her lips, will sound not like a trick, but like the magic of healing. Part 3. 2 words that dispel the darkness. And so you stand before him. The storm is at its peak. You've taken a deep breath, connected with your inner stillness, your center. You look at him not with judgment or fear, but with deep, almost maternal compassion, yet also with the strength of a queen who will not allow her kingdom to be destroyed. And then, softly but firmly, you utter these 2 words. I hear you. Seems so simple, doesn't it? Just 2 words, but they contain a universe of meaning, especially when viewed through the lens of Jungian psychology. Acknowledgement of the other's reality. In a moment of anger, a man often feels completely alone, misunderstood, as if he's screaming into a void. The words, I hear you, instantly break down this wall of isolation. They tell him, your experience, your feelings right now, are real to me. I am not dismissing them. I acknowledge their right to exist. Jung emphasized the importance of subjective reality. For a person, what they feel is their truth. By acknowledging his truth of the moment, you don't necessarily agree with his interpretation of events, but you give him what he desperately needs, to be seen in his experience. It's like a balm on an open wound. Disarming the shadow. The shadow manifesting in anger expects a fight. It's used to being attacked, ignored, or feared. A calm, confident, I hear you, pulls the rug out from under it. This isn't the reaction it's prepared for. It's as if you extended a hand to a furious beast, and it, surprised by the lack of aggression, momentarily freezes. The shadow, according to Jung, strives for integration, for the light of consciousness. Your words are the first ray of light that says, you no longer need to be destructive to be noticed. 3. Switching from logos to eros. A man in anger is often stuck in his logos, trying to logically justify his rage, find culprits, establish justice as he understands it. Your words, coming from the space of eros, from connection and feeling, bypass his blocked logic and appeal directly to his heart, to his emotional center. You don't argue with his points, you respond to his state. This is what Jung called a meeting of souls on a deeper, non-verbal level. Breaking the chain of projections. Anger is often a projection. A man might unconsciously project onto you his bad mother, critical father, unfair boss, or his own rejected personality parts. If you react to his projection with your own counter-projection, e.g. start criticizing him back, you only get entangled in this web. By saying I hear you, you remain yourself. You don't become a screen for his projections. You're essentially saying, what you're feeling right now, that's yours. I'm here, I'm witnessing it, but I won't play this game by your old rules. This can be the first step for him to realize Who am I really angry at? Fame. Creating a temenos, a sacred space. In Jungian psychology, a temenos is a protected, sacred space where transformation can occur. Your words, reinforced by your calm presence, create such a temenos amidst the chaos. It's a non-verbal message. It's safe here. Here, your feelings, even the darkest ones, can be expressed and heard without judgment. Here, you can take off your armor. And it is in such a space that healing is possible. Activating his positive anima. If anger is a manifestation of his wounded, negative anima, irrational emotions, moodiness, then your calm, accepting "I hear you" can appeal to his positive anima, his capacity for empathy, connection, intuitive understanding. You are, in a way, inviting this better, more mature part of his soul to respond. How to say them. The art of nuance. These aren't just words. They are a symphony where every element matters. Voice. Calm, even. Without a tremor. Without a metallic edge. Without sarcasm. Perhaps a little quieter than usual, so he has to listen. Gaze. Direct, but soft. Not piercing, not frightened. A gaze that says, "I see you. I am not afraid." Body. Open, but confident posture. No crossed arms or legs. Shoulders back, but not tense. You are a rock against which the waves break, but a rock covered in the soft moss of compassion. Pause. After he's vented another burst of anger, take a small pause before saying, "I hear you." This pause shows you were truly listening, not just waiting for your turn to speak. What happens to the man? The unraveling drama. Imagine, he's at the peak of his fury, his world narrowed to a tunnel where there's only his pain and the object it's directed at. And suddenly, instead of expected resistance, fear, or a counterattack, he hears this quiet, yet strong, "I hear you." Instantaneous confusion. It's like tripping on a flat surface. His usual script malfunctions. For a moment, his internal computer freezes, trying to process this unexpected input. Tension reduction, as if air is slowly being let out of an overinflated balloon. His defensive armor, which he so fiercely constructed, becomes unnecessary. He no longer needs to so desperately prove he's hurting. He's already been heard. A glimmer of awareness. In this breach that has formed in the wall of his anger, the first ray of awareness might appear. What am I doing? Why am I yelling? Like this? It might be a fleeting insight, but it's priceless. A sense, perhaps unconscious, of gratitude and relief. To be heard in such a vulnerable moment is an enormous gift. Even if he doesn't show it immediately, somewhere deep inside, he'll feel relief. This doesn't mean he'll instantly turn into an angel. He might continue talking, but the tone will likely change. The fire of rage will begin to subside, replaced, perhaps by bitterness, resentment, fatigue. But this will already be a different level, a level where contact is possible. Part 4. After the lull, how not to lose the peace. Gained and what's next. "I hear you" is a door, but what lies beyond it? How do you avoid returning to the storm? The art of silent presence. After your words, a pause will likely occur. Don't rush to fill it. Allow him to digest what he's heard. Your silent, empathetic presence is more important than any words right now. Let him finish speaking if he needs to. You simply listen, nod, showing you're still there, still hearing. Separating wheat from chaff. When the first wave subsides and he begins to speak more coherently, listen carefully, trying to separate his real feelings and needs from the distortions caused by anger. Jung taught us to look for meaning even in the most irrational manifestations. Perhaps behind his accusations lies fear, insecurity, or an unmet need for recognition. or love. Maintaining boundaries with love. If, after calming down a bit, he still uses offensive language or crosses a line, it's important to gently but firmly remind him of boundaries. For example, "I hear that you're very upset, and I'm willing to talk about it. But I ask you not to use those words. It hurts me, and it doesn't help us understand each other." This isn't aggression, but a defense of your dignity, which Jung considered an integral part of a mature personality. Don't rush to solve the problem. Women are often inclined to immediately jump in and fix the situation, but sometimes a man just needs to be heard and have his feelings understood, not offered immediate solutions. Give him that. The question, "How can I help you?" when he's already calm, is often far more effective than ready-made advice. Postponed, substantive conversation. It's not always necessary to dissect the cause of the conflict immediately after the storm has passed. Sometimes it's better to give both of you time to cool off. You could say, "I'm glad we were able to talk more calmly. Let's come back to this issue tomorrow, later, when we're both ready to discuss it constructively." Your role, not rescuer, but partner. Remember, you are not his psychotherapist or his mother. Your task is to be an equal partner who is capable of empathy, but also of self-protection. Jung spoke of the importance of individuation for everyone. Your mature behavior can become an example and an incentive for his own growth, but you cannot do this work for him. Post-mortem analysis for yourself. After everything settles down, find time to analyze the situation for yourself. What was the trigger? Which of your own reactions were constructive, and which were not? What did you learn about him and about yourself in this conflict? This is part of your own individuation journey. Now, we have journeyed through the storm. Look the dragon of anger in the eye, and, I hope, found not just two magic words, but something much greater, an understanding of the deep mechanisms of the human soul, and a key to transforming the most challenging moments in relationships. I hear you. This is not a spell. It is the embodiment of your inner strength, your wisdom, your ability to love, not only in the light, but also in the darkness. It is a bridge you build over the chasm of misunderstanding, a bridge on which your man, consumed by anger, can return to himself and to you. Carl Jung left us an invaluable legacy, the knowledge that true harmony is born not from avoiding conflicts, but from the courage to meet them head-on, armed with awareness and compassion. He taught that our shadow is not an enemy, but a guardian of our strength, if we dare to integrate it, and that the path of individuation, the path to our wholeness, is the greatest gift we can give ourselves and the world. When you say, "I hear you," from the depths of your centered, loving self, you are not just calming an angry man. You become a healer. You create a space where his wounded soul can find peace. You invite him to a dance of eros and logos, where strength and vulnerability, reason and feeling find harmony. This is not an easy path. It requires courage, patience, constant inner work. There will be setbacks, moments of despair, but every time you manage to meet the storm, not with a responsive storm, but with the quiet strength of your presence, and these two simple yet powerful words, you will be taking a step towards deeper, more authentic, healed relationships. May the drama of anger in your life gradually give way to the wisdom of understanding. May your home become not a battlefield, but a haven of love and acceptance. And may your inner light, your Jungian self, shine so brightly that it dispels any darkness. Remember, you are not a victim of circumstances. You are the creator of your reality. And in your hands and in your heart lies the power to turn the most painful moments into points of growth and deepening love. If this journey into the depths of Jungian wisdom has touched your soul, if you feel that this knowledge can change not only your relationships, but also yourself, carry this light forward. Share it with those you care about. For the more conscious, whole women there are in the world, capable of meeting darkness with love, the brighter and more harmonious the world itself will become. And may your life be filled not with fear of storms, but with confidence in your ability to guide your ship of love through any tempest to the quiet harbor of mutual understanding. You can do this. I believe in you.